as we go galloping down the aisle. It's to find you, it's to meet you, it's to wunderbar, it's to victory, it's to war, it's to winner, it's to works, it's to lovely. Oh, not this time. And soon we take a few hours off to eat wedding cake. It's delightful, it's delicious, it's to lovely.
Hi, I'm Lynn DiMenna, and I'm here with the lovely, luscious, larky K.T. Sullivan here at her wonderful apartment on the 40th floor. And just chatting. We're just talking about her career, which has been an enormously successful one. Extraordinary, frankly, that a young girl from Boggy Depot, Oklahoma, could come to New York and find herself on the 40th floor of the Manhattan Plaza apartment. How did this happen?
Well, my mother is a musician. You probably know that.
Yes.
She's a wonderful singer, and she gave me music. So I was singing in Boggy Depot in church. I think I was singing at 4 and 5 years old. We're harmonizing with my brother in church.
You had a gospel singing group, I understand.
I guess you'd call it gospel. I don't know. We sang in church.
Yeah,
we toured around a little bit. Where actually my father was very liberal politically and as far as religion is concerned. When people hear gospel and think we're terribly conservative or right wing or whatever. No, we weren't.
He was with the agricultural service, right?
Yes,
that helped farmers.
Yes, he did. I mean, my mom and dad were city kids that grew up in Oklahoma City, but the back to farm movement after World War II brought them back to 180 acres in Boggy Depot, and they started a family. And my mother,
8 children later.
8 children, yeah. My mother said she always wanted 6, and then she got to 3. But this is really a lot. And there's a wonderful picture on the piano. You'll see a piano of four of us sitting on a log. And
Bart Howard's piano, we might add.
Yeah, Bart Howard, who wrote Fly Me to the Moon, left me this piano on his will. But my mother took a picture of 4 of us sitting very well dressed on a log. And you can tell that she thought that was going to be the end. So,
well, I was one of 4, and my mother thought that was plenty, and I have 4, and I can attest.
And my husband has 5.
Yeah.
So I have 5 stepchildren, and we've been married 15 years in November. And when we married, there was 1 step-grandchild, Finn, who was 3 at the time. And now he's 18.
Oh, my gracious.
And there are 7 of them. I have 7. They call me Grand Dame.
Well, that you are. The doyen of New York Cabaret.
It's fun.
Well, it's just an amazing American story when you come right down to it, that you could have grown up in Boggy Depot by way of the University of Oklahoma. Then out to L.A.
Yeah, well, the Today Show, Bob Dotson of the Today Show put together a film about my family, and they had like 100 hours of interviews. They went to Boggy Depot.
Really?
And interviewed some of the farmers there, and another thing on my brother, who's a small-town doctor in Bayan. He had put together all this footage for, I think it's 10 minutes. You can look it up on YouTube. My sister,
I will.
Heather has it on her website. Interviews with all my brothers and sisters, and because we did that concert at Carnegie.
Yes.
Zankel.
Right.
When my mother turned 75 and Bart was going to be 9, he just died the year before. But Bart, born in 1915, we're celebrating his birthday next year, along with Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
And Billie Holiday.
Oh,
how interesting. Bart Howard, all born in 1915. So we're celebrating that at Carnegie Recital Hall on June 9th.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is Cole Porter's birthday.
Oh, my gracious.
And Frank's sang a lot of Cole, so I guess we're going to have some fun.
Well, again, I had used the word beshert, referring to something I was telling you about the Palace Theater in Stamford, but your career has just been a series of beshert moments.
It has. I had a friend in Los Angeles, Paul Horner, who wrote Peg on Broadway with Peggy Lee, and he had a list for me when I came to New York of people to call. And this was 84, the year that Mabel Mercer died. So I got to New York, and the first day I was here, Max Showalter, who was in Hello, Dolly on Broadway.
I knew Max from the
Max?
Cabaret Convention camp.
Wonderful. I met him in Los Angeles.
Wonderful fellow.
But he called me up and said, I have an extra seat to Mabel Mercer's memorial at Town Hall. And thank goodness I didn't ask who's Mabel Mercer.
Yeah.
So on that stage that day was Dorothy Loudon and Elaine Stritch, her pictures on the piano. Now, she came to see my last show at the Algonquin. Bart Howard, who I'd never met at that point. Buddy Barnes, who became my pianist. He was one of Mabel's pianists. Cy Coleman, Bobby Short, all on that stage.
Yeah, that particular
and of course it was produced by Donald Smith.
Right.
And then when Rita Gardner was doing, first of all, that list from Paul Horner was also Danny Apolinar, and I sang at his club.
Danny's.
Wonderful. What was it? Besides that, was it Buddy Barnes? Was of course was that, but But so Buddy became my pianist, and he said to me in one of our first coaching sessions, "Have you ever done any Bart Howard songs?" And I didn't know Bart Howard. So he started playing them for me, and then eventually Rita Gardner left a review that he put together called of Bart Howard at Jan Wallman's, and so I replaced Rita Gardner in that show, and that's how I met Bart Howard.
But this is incredible for a gal that's just arrived.
I just arrived.
This is really
Donald Smith
42nd
came to see
Street.
me there, so he saw me there. And the first Cabaret Convention was '89, so I got in the first one. I've been in every one since.
Everyone since.
And then 2 years ago, we lost Donald, of course.
Yeah.
And I remember it was about a year before he died. He sat me down and said, "Do you think this has just run its course? That maybe this whole Cabaret Convention thing idea should really come to an end, or you think it should go on?" And I said, "Well, Donald, it should go on." He said, "Would you like to do it?" I fell out of my chair, but after that, I thought, what an honor. And then when he died, it was I would be artistic director, and Rick Meadows was managing director, and it's worked out to be great fun. I'm enjoying it tremendously. I go out almost every night to see young performers. I want to get to see new performers, some new blood into this.
Absolutely, and I think that is the direction that we have to go in if we're going to continue this.
They all have young friends that come.
They all have young friends, and curiously enough, and I'm sure you're finding this among these young people, they really relate to this music. You know, I mean, it's not.
It's amazing.
Well, I have 4 children. They're all musically involved, and they know good music. So
because you taught them to them.
Yes, and they hear it. You know,
they hear it, and once they hear it, they want to do them.
Once they hear
I had a master class at LaGuardia High School a couple weeks ago, and these kids are so excited by this music. And I was also teaching down at the Gramercy Arts High School, and these kids didn't know this music from Adam. But this little girl had found, we left some books there, put some music there. This little girl found Don't Rain on My Parade. She was so excited, and her peers loved it.
Yeah.
It's a story. It goes somewhere.
Yeah.
As opposed to a lot of pop music, which is just one riff repeated.
Right, exactly.
Oh, this is a story. It has a beginning and a middle and an end. And the peers are all excited, and they're...
Well, that's why I see it continuing. You know,
Yes.
I don't think the audience size of the audience is probably always going to be challenging.
Well, that's what it is. Cabaret. It is intimate.
Right.
When we
It's
present at
intimate.
Rose Hall, it is 1,200 people who are seeing who they like, so they can go see them in smaller clubs.
Right.
Because sometimes people are so good in intimate situations, they're not good on that big stage.
It's a very different experience.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
But that's
yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
can still see, you can still promote other things that are happening around town that week. Please come to the cabarets, because this is the big showcase at Rose Hall. But please, cabaret is an intimate experience. I started in a place that held 30 people.
Yeah.
The Rose Cafe in Los Angeles. And that's hard. You're singing to someone. Before that, I was used to doing roles on stage. You're singing to someone. You're singing the line, and a man takes a woman's hand across the table. Wow.
Yeah.
You're talking about yourself and why you want to sing this song. It's very different.
Very different.
And some people are very good at this and not good at the big stage, and vice versa.
Can be very intimidating for some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. Probably the hardest is being a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
But it's second.
I have one
being
of those,
a cabaret
too.
singer. Oh, you have one of those too?
I have one of
That's
those.
the hardest, I think.
The stand-up and improv.
That's the hardest.
That is very hard.
But in cabaret, you do have rejection, just like stand-up comics have. Sometimes the audience rejects you, and it's close. You see their faces, and they've rejected you.
Right.
But that's like stand-up comedy. And you do have improv. It's the best cabaret performers are good in the moment.
Yeah.
So it's improv, it's stand-up comedy, but stand-up comedy
But
is the hardest.
your shows over the course of your career have been very well themed. Very well themed.
I try.
They always come across as spontaneous. But you
That's
do love
what
the
I
history and the
I love
research.
the history and the research, but try to make it in the moment, because people come to the cabaret to have a live experience. If you've rehearsed your lines so well and it's so well scripted, put it on PBS.
Yeah.
But we are sitting in an audience, and if someone drops something or someone talks back
have
to you,
to react.
use it. And
Yes.
that's what makes good. I think good. Look, you see Marilyn May, where she uses the audience. Someone's dropped it from Tennessee. She's talking to this group over here. That's what makes it fun. It's different because, as someone said one time, it was different because I was there.
Yeah.
When Mark Nadler is down at this place, Noctambulo, or whatever it's called, Noctambulo, I think they call it.
Noctambula.
Everyone in the room is in the show. He seems to know everyone's name. He did it at Sardi's too.
Yes.
That's
sure.
cabaret.
Yeah.
But I think of cabaret.
Being in the moment.
And you can't have that at Rose Hall, but you can get an idea of it.
Well, you certainly have done it with great success and with a
thank
variety
you.
of different musical directors, which has always
I
intrigued
love
me.
it. It doesn't get me in a rut. I like to. It's an expansion. It's a challenge to work with a big jazz musician like John Weber. Ted Firth is more jazzy. And I've also worked with Larry Woodard, who's more traditional.
And Mike Renzi.
Mike Renzi was
Yeah.
in my first 2 albums. He's so, and now he's back in town.
Yeah.
You know? If you notice that, it's
Oh, yes.
It's he was down in Florida with that whole Sesame Street thing.
Right.
But now he's back in town. He's playing for Nicholas King and Joyce Breach. I just saw her show at Don't Tell Mama.
As did I.
It's really wonderful.
Wonderful.
Great jazz musicians like that, but also with people like Larry Woodard, who comes from the world of operetta. When I was doing that show at La Revista or downstairs, it's a very different, more traditional show. And Mark is not a jazz musician. Mark is showbiz.
Oh, yeah.
So when I'm with Mark, it's a very different thing.
Well, I think if you're waking up in the morning, depending on what show you're doing.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's challenging.
And just going, oh, who will I be? Who will I be tonight?
And
You
with
know?
Jeff Harner, it's very different than working with Mark Nadler or with Larry Woodard. I
And
love
your
working with
persona, you know, that
It's
you've
different.
that you've obviously developed over a long period of time. It's so unique.
Thank
I
you.
also was thinking of the 2 songs, the Whirling Dervish. That certainly does describe you, but also one from Chorus Line, and I understand you knew somebody in
my
Chorus
dear
Line.
friend Bradley Jones,
Yeah.
who was out, went to see, in fact, we stayed with Peter Levy out in the Berkshires when my first appearance at the Sisto School, that wonderful place
Oh,
in the
yes,
Berkshires.
yes.
Other things are happening in the Berkshires now. We have Woodstock, we have Helsinki. Oh, I played Great Barrington Stage this summer, too. There's a new cabaret room there, the William Finn room.
I don't know that there are
The
a lot
Berkshires are hopping.
The Berkshires are hopping.
But my friend Bradley Jones was in Chorus Line for 10 years on Broadway, and he's one of my dearest friends. I did a little workshop up there at his school, was Staples School out in
yes.
Connecticut.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's like going to college.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in Staples and you do a musical there, it's like a college production. It's not really a high school production. But I've gone out there with him, and he's
Wonderful.
worked with the kids there, too.
Well, there's very little that you haven't done, and you know, as I say, I think of that song, One Singular Sensation.
Thank you.
Well, it's true. It's really true, and I hope with the Mabel Mercer Foundation that with you at the helm, it doesn't seem. It seems as if there's no end to what.
I'm hoping so. I mean, we've
expansion,
expanded
yeah.
Florida. We want to go back to Chicago, San Francisco. There are lots of schools across the country who want to be affiliated with us to get this music out there. It has to do with the songbook too, the songbook and singers, which I love. This is what I love.
Of course. And anybody in particular that you're, well, I know from having been at the convention myself that Eric Eve Garcia is one of your
He plays
new
across
favorites.
the street here. We're looking down at 42nd Street.
Right.
Eric Eve Garcia. My sister Heather found him a couple of years ago.
Yes, yes.
And my family walked in, and in fact, there's a lovely article in the Cabaret Scenes about how that all happened. He talked
Right,
about
right.
my father loved Eric Eve Garcia before I heard him, and I finally got in there with Mary Skillern, who's on our board, and I fell in love with him. Also, Debbie Whiting came in to see him one night.
Yes, yes.
And there's
She's
this
been a
young
real
kid
champion.
playing these old songs, and Debbie Whiting said, "Why are you playing?" He was playing her grandfather's songs.
Yeah,
Richard
yeah.
Whiting. Why are you playing these old songs? He said, "I find if you bend them, they don't break."
Well, isn't that a
Isn't that
nice
nice?
note to end
Isn't that
our
nice?
lovely conversation?
These are the songs.
And these are the young, new
Liam
up and comers.
Ford,
Liam
Devin
Ford,
Bing, Matt Baker.
Baker, Jennifer Sheehan,
Oh.
and that whole
Yes,
Carol
and the
Bufford.
lovely Rebecca Lowen.
I think we're in good hands. I
It's so
really
exciting.
do.
It's so
well,
exciting.
Thank you so much, KT, for
Thank you,
giving
Liz.
us
Great
this
after
time.
all these years, that
I
first
know.
time before I got married.
That's right.
It looked dire. It looked dire for me to finding someone who would love what I do. And,
And-
as you know, my husband Steve loves show business.
I know, and didn't
And
you
that's
find
a
the
prerequisite.
perfect
Oh,
man?
he
You're a
loves this.
lucky lady,
Yes,
Miss Sullivan.
thank you,
Yes,
Lynn.
you are.
Life
Thank
is a
you.
cabaret.
It sure is. Thanks.
Thank you. Good luck up in Stanford.
Thank you.
Sounds
Thank
great.
you.
That's more expansion of this songbook.
More expansion.
Thank you.
Onward and upward.
Yes. High hopes.
Thanks. I'm sorry. You might have to cut that.
Well, one cut at the end, yes.